back to Ginny's. I'm Ginny and today we are going to be doing macarons. So I have spent a whole weekend living in the world of macarons and have made many mistakes. So my mistakes, hopefully I'll be able to explain to you not what to do and also what to do, because that would just be pointless otherwise. So we're going to get started on a couple of the basics that I found really help to start with. So I have done so much research on this, tried every tip that there is, and the ones that I found easier I'm going to share with yourselves. So to begin with, the egg. Now I found that my macarons were coming out really dull across the tops and I didn't like it, so I had a little look online of how this can be solved, and it's to do with aging your egg white. So the night before you're going to make the macaron, get egg white, put it into a bowl, right, as much as you need, but add more. And I'll tell you why in just a second. But then cover your tub in cling film and with a cocktail stick, just put holes in the top, put it in the fridge. And that is really important. So egg whites in a bowl, cover in cling, and then a cocktail sticks through. When you wake up in the morning, take it out so it comes to room temperature. Make sure it comes out around about half an hour before you're going to use them. Then sieve them, which sounds crazy, but see this bit? You know, in an egg, when you're separating your eggs, you get this lovely flow and then all of a sudden it goes blob because there's this really thick part. Now apparently macarons don't like that thick part. So you sieve your egg white and then whatever bit won't come out, because this won't come through my sieve, this has been sat there now for ages, okay? So whatever bit doesn't come through, you just discard. So that's why I said add a bit more. So sieve it and put it in the night before. So here's mine. Now all of my recipe will be in this little V just here. So I've only done a half batch for you because almond flour is so expensive. The last thing you want to do is be making so many of them, and if they go wrong you have to bin it all. So I've done the smallest amount that we can do. This will give you about 10 macarons, but if you want to double it you can double it, and that's fine. But if you're just practicing, just use this half portion. So all the ingredients will be in that box just there. So we sorted the egg, so there's my egg sat there. I know that's brilliant, it's not really slimy, that's great. Now we need to move on to the almond flour and the icing sugar. So the almond flour and icing sugar needs sieving. I get my almond flour from Tesco's. It depends on where you live, what country you're in, but if the finest you can get on the almond flour, the better. So in with my almond flour, and we're going to sieve these twice. Now in the ingredients, you'll see that I've added, for this, it's 60 grams, but I've added 70. And the reason I'm doing that, because I want 60 grams, and some of it is just not going to pass through the sieve, and we don't want that. So I'm just giving a little bit of allowance for the bits that just don't pass through the sieve. So this takes ages, so I am just going to use my spatula here just to come all the way through with this and get it all in there. And then I'll show you the bit at the end that we just don't want. And then hopefully when we do the second sieve, there's not really any of that there because we have discarded it. So let me do this and I'll come back to you. Okay, so I've done that, and as you can see I've got some left in the bottom there and I don't want this, so I'm just going to get rid of that and then pass this through again. So we're going to do the very same thing all over again. So I'll show you again what's at the bottom when I finish with this. Right, so that's all come through. There is a tiny bit still at the bottom, so I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, and here we are. So we've got this left, and this is lovely. And we just set that to one side. Okay, now we need to just make sure that everything that we are using is completely grease-proof. And the way to do that is lemon. So we're going to get some lemon juice and a bit of paper and all the way around everything that you are using. So my bowl, my whisk, my palette knife, my spatula, and my other one that I'm going to be using to colour. Right, that is all now free from grease. Really important stage, otherwise you could be wasting your time. Right, before we move on to the beating of this, which the whisking, which I'm going to bring you in close for, because when I've been watching tutorials I've seen that they say to get stiff peaks, and it's just, they don't show you. So I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing today. Everything I do you'll be up close for. So things I'm going to put in, I'm going to put cream of tartar in with my egg. You'll see when, I'm going to do it when it's just started frothing up. I'm going to put half a teaspoon. Am I? Hang on, in my recipe, I am. I'm putting half a teaspoon of cream of tartar in. This is just an acid, which really helps it to become stiff. So if you haven't got cream of tartar, use lemon juice. If you haven't got lemon juice, you can use vinegar. But I haven't done that, and I don't like the sound of that, because I imagine that the taste would be there. So I recommend using lemon juice, half a teaspoon of, or cream of tartar, preferably this. I'm also then at the end going to put in my vanilla extract, and we are going to put in 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. So you'll see when I do that, I'm going to bring you in close, because I made these a few times and I thought I knew what stiff peaks were, and I was wrong, I don't. It kept flopping on me, and the batter was runny when I was doing the macaronage, and I was doing it exactly the way I thought I should do, but it just kept dropping, and apparently it's because my peaks weren't stiff enough. So I'm going to show you exactly what they should look like, and now it makes a massive difference. So we're going to go through that. So let me change my camera position, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay then, let's get started. So in with the egg whites. Make sure it's all in there. We're going to drop this down, and we're going to put this on a low speed just to begin with. It likes to have a low speed for about 30 seconds. It doesn't like to be attacked straight away. I'm sorry if this is noisy. I'm trying to be louder than the noise. And we're going to go up one more, and this is where it's going to stay. Okay, if you're listening with headphones, I massively apologise. See the foam starting to come? We want to wait until it's at soft peaks this way. I'll show you how in just a second. Keep this going. Okay, if I stop this and lift, can you see the way on the bottom there when I lift it comes up together, see, and then like parts away like a little kiss. That's the way you want that to be. So now we can pop in our half a teaspoon of cream of tartar and 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. Now we're going to keep this on that low medium speed, okay? Push that down there, otherwise it's not in there. There we go. Right. Okay, let me show you what this looks like now. So when I lift this up, it's a bit thicker there, look, see? The way it's trailing off just there. So we've got softish peaks, so now we need to start adding the sugar. So you need a tablespoon for the sugar. And we're just going to add this like a little bit at a time. So it's like a little sleet shower. So I'm going to take some of my sugar and just hover it where? There, you can see. Turn this back up to the speed it was. So I'm just using the side of the mixer just to have something to hit off of so that it slows down my flow, because I could accidentally just whack it all in. There we go. And again. Really small bits at a time. And this is going to make it really, really silky. But you don't want to rush this bit because you could collapse those meringues. Okay, that's all of the sugar now incorporated, so I'm going to come up another notch on my mixer. So this is going to get a lot louder, but this has to go up, and then I'm going to show you where I thought stiff peaks were, but they're not. So let's go. Okay, if you can see in there, there's like, as it's spinning round, it's pulling ribbons. There's impressions being made, and that is looking kind of nearly stiff. Let's have a look. Oh, peace. Okay, so you lift that up and turn that over, and do you know, I actually thought that pretty much this was nearly a stiff peak. So spin it, spin it, spin it, spin it. There we go. Right, if I was to put this over my head, it would stay, okay? But we're nowhere near, like nowhere near. So when you spin it round and you lift it up, see, see how smooth all of this is here? And this little bit is blobbing around. So we are nowhere near. Back on. Same on a medium high. Okay, let's have another look. Lift, oh look at that. So now, this tip thing here, that isn't flopping over at all. So this is what I would determine as a stiff peak, okay? I'm wrong. See here, we're still all smooth. There's a little bit of a line. Yeah, you can see it. You can see a little bit of a line coming up here and here. We're on the way. Back on. Back up to that medium high speed. Okay, watching here. See around the outside, you've got definite ridges forming as it's spinning, and the meringue is filling up inside that balloon whisk. So let's have a look. Right. The first good thing is the whisk is filling, and it's just showing that the air is getting stuck inside where it's getting firmer, which is great. Right, let's have a look. Give it a spin and lift. We are getting there, still not quite. See in the bowl, see the ridges it's making. There's a really sharp one there. See on the side here, the way that this is becoming like a razor blade. It's not quite there. When you see it, it's an amazing effect. So, see here, look at that. That's stayed so tight. It's getting there here, look. Look at this. Razor point, razor point. Couple more minutes and we are there. Back on. Okay, as this is spinning now, it is really giving definite lines all around the outside, really sharp indentation. So I think we are there. Let's have a look. And that balloon whisk has filled up so well. So give it a go round and have a look and see what it does in that bowl. There we go. Look at this. That razor edge sharp. Razor edge sharp, yeah, okay. It's done it here. And look at that, between the two. That almost looks so sharp. And that is stiff peaks, apparently. So I was never going this far. I was always too frightened to over whip it. And this was my problem. So you need these sharp edges all over everything. So if we take that out, Look at those. They are fantastic. Now our meringue is ready. Right, now we are going to start the process of the macaronage. So first off, we need to add vanilla to our mix, and we know it's completely and utterly mixed to the right point, so I'm going to add half a teaspoon to that, and we are just going to quickly fly that on. So just give it a couple of seconds just while we go through, make sure that that is completely incorporated. Beautiful. Right, so that is completely done. Right, now I've got my baking tin here and I have lined it. Now you can use those mats, but I saw so much, I was doing so much research, and I found that everybody says the mats just don't help the bottom bits for crust over properly because they're so thick, so we'll forget that. So I've got my parchment paper, and then if you haven't got those circles, I turn mine over, I got a pen, and then you know you can get the tiny cutters, the cookie cutter. That cookie cutter is exactly the right size. So all I did is put it over the top and made my marks, making sure that I left an inch between each one. Turn it over. Make sure your parchment paper exactly fits, because if it doesn't and it comes up, it's going to wrinkle like this and then it's going to mess up your cookies. So we are going to take a little bit of meringue. Everything must be prepared now, ready. And then really just smooth this out as best you can so it sticks. So there's no dents in there at all. And set this off to one side, and we're finished with that for the moment. Then we need to make sure that we've got our piping bag ready. So I've got a number 12 nozzle in the bottom there. Set my bag over in a glass, that's ready. We need to colour it now. We've done the vanilla. So what I do is I'm going to take a little bit, because I use sugar flare. So if you use gels, just the liquid one, just put a couple of drops in and that'll be done. But I use these pastes, I really like them. Do not use an oil-based colour. If you use an oil-based colour, you are going to just collapse your meringue. So I'm just going to take some of this, and because they're pastes, they can be a bit of a pain. So, there we go. Okay, then we're just gonna, don't worry about it collapsing, that's why we do it like this. Make sure that you've got all the colour incorporated, because that you can just pop it in the microwave, the colour, just for a couple of seconds, and that will, one, enhance the colour more if you pop it into the microwave. It will smoke with the sugar flare ones. But if you pop it in, just don't put it in for more than 10 seconds because it smokes. Right, so I'm happy that that is all fully incorporated, and on a lot of the tutorials I watched, they added that in there now, but I don't want to. I found that that dropped my meringue slightly, and I just don't want that to happen because I've learned that this meringue is just so important. So I'm just going to set that to one side, in with my bowl, and we are just going to put all of this mixture into the bowl. Okay. I mean, it's still so razor sharp, see? Right then, now we begin this process. So this is with the folding, so I'm going to take half of this. I read that you should do 60 folds, right? And I actually find this is much easier if you actually count it in your head and you know you've not undermixed it then. So I'm going to count it out loud with you. But just to fold, first off, take your spatula, come in and go over the top. This is what you're doing, this motion. Then cut through the middle, do the same thing over the top. then cut through the middle, and as you're doing that, you're lifting the bottom bit. Come around the outside and lift over. Okay, so I've just done about 4, so we're going to go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and we're going to add the rest. Keep that count going. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Then add this. Just keep going. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. Right, that is our minimum amount, and we've done it. What we are looking for this to do is when you lift it up, for it to not break like this. Right, I'm just going to push this to the edge really gently and just move that slightly just to knock out a couple of those air pockets. Fold it back over, lift up, and we're going to try again. It's breaking. So just a couple more of those. I think this might be it. You don't want too much air in there, but you also do want the air. Confusing, isn't it? I think we're there. Right, ready? Continuous stream. It's sitting on the top. You can see the 8. We are ready. Do not go any further. Okay? See my 8 stuck there? And it came in a continuous motion. Let's just do it again to show you. There we go. Right, bring in the bag. Try not to move it around too much now. Okay, sorry, I just ruined your camera view. There we are. In with the tray. Okay, start down. Keep this completely at 90 degrees and holding the top of the bag and pushing from there, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and around. Push 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and around. 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 And you get the gist. If you keep doing those numbers in your head, they're going to be the same size. Okay, so you can see where mine I didn't completely and utterly mix that colour in properly, but I really like this look. If you don't like that look, just add that mixture in a little bit earlier. Right, now we're going to drop it. 1, 2, 3. There we go. See the holes that have come through? So I've got a toothpick, and if you see any other ones, just burst it open like that and then just twizzle it back in. So come down and look across and you'll see if there's anything being a pain. It's not quite circular, so I'm just gonna give that one a hand. Right, there's one. See, if you pull it apart, this will make sure that the tops of your macarons are completely flat. Am I happy? And then we need to let these rest until they get a skin. If your macarons don't skin, then you've over mixed them and they were too wet. So unfortunately there's not a lot you can do, because if they don't get a skin on the top, they'll crack in the oven. So we're going to set these to one side and let them skin over. Now when they skin, you can just leave them on the side. I put a fan on them because it really just speeds the process up. So I'm going to go and grab my fan. Just leave them behind, go and wash up, and leave them there for 20 minutes. Whilst they are resting, you're going to set your oven to 150 degrees. And once they're done, they'll go in. So I'll see you in a minute. Right, so mine have had 20 minutes. This is what you want to be able to do. I can take my finger and look, rub it right across the top. There is such a skin on there. That is what you need. So that took me 20 minutes, but I've got this giant fan thing here that I was blowing over the top. So anything up to 40 minutes for those. So we're going to pop these into the oven. Now my oven is at 150. I really wouldn't recommend making a macaron unless you have an internal oven thermometer, because mine says 150, but it's not on the inside. So I've gone for the inside temperature. So it is at 150 in there now. These are temperamental things and they really, really like the appropriate temperature. So I'm on a fan. I also tried to do 2 sheets at once, and with my fan I don't think it circulated properly because they didn't cook evenly. So I'm only doing 1 tray at a time in the middle of the oven, not too close to the top either. Then you can see here I've also got a wooden spoon in the oven door. And I found that they were a little bit dry, and I had a look online, again I've done so much research, and putting this in allows a bit of the air to circulate and it stops them being so humid inside. So I found this really works as well. So my temperature is, I set it a little bit higher just so that it's 150 with that door open. So let's get them in. I'm going to do them in 2 lots and turn them. So I'm going to put them in for 8 minutes. And then I'm going to open the door, turn them round like that, and then pop them in again. Mine took around about 17 minutes, so I will tell you exactly how long mine took. We're going to put them in for the 8, and then I'm going to put them in for another 8 and give them a little bit of a jiggle. So you want to move them a little bit from side to side, and not too much because you'll break the feet. But when you move it, if you lift it slightly, if it starts to come off the parchment, you're there, so take them out then. I will see you in a bit. Right, I'm beeping. Now I've left mine on there for 19 minutes. It took just that little bit longer with my wooden spoon in the door. So there they are. They look gorgeous. And if I take a corner, they slightly start to raise off of the mat. Now I don't want to pull those completely because they've not completely filmed that skin. They'll do that when they cool. So I'm just going to leave those alone. Take this off. So I did 8 minutes, then I spun it around, and then I did, right, just going to lift that out there. so that they cool a little bit quicker. I did 8 minutes and then spun the whole thing round and then pop them in for another 10 minutes. So, done! Don't they look pretty? And they've still got that gloss across the top. They've got lovely feet and they've risen up. So I'm happy with those. And because of the way that I mixed it, I love this effect across the top. I think this looks prettier than this one, but that's your choice. So I'm going to get some buttercream sorted for the inside. You can use Ganache, you can use buttercream, you can use what you like. You can put a little bit of fruit filling on the inside. I'm just going to mix up. I've just taken some Russian buttercream out of my fridge that I made the other day. Not Russian, Italian. And I'm just going to bring this back to a silky ness and sort this out. See you now. Right, while these are very nearly dry, I'm just going to show you can leave them like this, or I really like the gold effect across the top. So all I've got is some luster dust and some vodka, which evaporates, so don't worry. And I'm just going to flick like this whilst they're still on the sheet. And like I said, this is personal choice. I love this look. Okay, and I've just used a pastry brush for that. And then just while they're having that last little bit of drying and cooling, leave that there and they'll be ready to go together. Okay, so I've removed them. Now these should just come off clean. See, on these, most of them, apart from this one and this one. So when you take them out of the oven, when you like fiddle with them from side to side, if they aren't budging at all, give them an extra minute. My ones mostly around the outside were, but my middle ones didn't. Don't pull them. If you pull them, you're going to break that skin. Get a knife and just slide it and they'll just come right off. There we go. So mine took 18 minutes to do. You can go up to 20 minutes. You just, don't worry, they're not like cakes. You can open the oven. It's not a massive drama. Just make sure that when you give them a little bit of a wiggle, that they are, or just slightly pull up. I notice if you wobble, you kind of might damage the feet. So just slightly pull up, and if the corners are starting to come up, then they're done. Right, now we have to match them up because I'm not a robot and they're not all perfectly together. One thing I will say, if you notice on this one here, I've got like a flat piece here. If your baking parchment isn't completely flat, that's the trouble with baking parchment. You really need to lock it down. I would actually recommend putting the meringue around the whole thing, including the sides. Lock that in, because that's what's happened here. Some of the parchment has just come up slightly, forcing that across. There was nothing wrong with the way we piped, it was just that parchment. So when you've got your tray, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, I would literally do a whole thing of meringue and push it down, flatten it all out, and you know then that it's completely stuck, and that's not going to happen. Right, teaching myself as I go along here. So we'll marry them up as best as you can, and then we will put the filling inside. So that's perfect. So I'll do this and I'll come back. Right, so I've married those up. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now we need to fill these. So I'm just going to take one of the lids off. And then you can do it one of two ways. You can go all the way around the outside and in, or you can do the blob in the middle. So I'm going to do the blob in the middle. And I'm going to push, push, push. And then pop this lid on and push that down. There we go. Should be the same size as this. So this is a 2D I've got in here. And you think it's easy to do this piping, it's not. So I'm going to go it with you, straight in the middle, find that middle, just like when we pipe the macaron, right in the middle, up 90 degrees and push. Push, 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 until it comes right that far from the edge. And we're going to pop the lid on, keeping your fingers in the middle and push down. There we go. Okay. Filled. So we have got macarons. Just the best thing that I can tell you is that meringue is so important, and I would count those amounts as you're going as well for the 60, because otherwise you wonder, did I undermix it, did I overmix it? And then just pushing out those air pockets and making sure that that figure 8 just completely comes through, sits on there a little bit, and also that you can just do it in one motion. So I'm done. I hope that you have found this useful. I hope that you can follow it. I'm going to see if you have any suggestions before I do the Swiss meringue one. So I'm going to do that one in 2 days' time. So this was the French method, and I will see you soon while I do that one. Hope you really enjoy these, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.